Welcome to Future Sanctuary, where we inspire, educate, and equip people to build lives of freedom, purpose, and self-sufficiency by blending sustainable living, modern technology, and timeless values. If that sounds like a bit of you, like and subscribe or drop us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. In today's story, you'll find both a gentle rhythm of rest and a practical lesson in homesteading. It is an invitation to slow your breathing, settle into the peace of farm life, and at the same time, learn the timeless essentials of goat care. The morning opens gently over the homestead. Mist clings to the lower fields, its pale veil softening the outlines of fences and trees. The first bird calls rise thin and tentative, answered by others until the air hums with dawn's steady chorus. The timber of the goat shed creaks as Will slides the door back on its iron runners, and light slips across the straw-strewn floor. At once the quiet is broken by soft bleating, a low chorus of expectation from the herd that has sensed the day begin. Grace is already at his side, her boots too large, clattering as she runs forward, arms eager to stretch out toward her favorite nanny goat. Ollie follows behind, shoulders straining beneath a bundle of hay held high, his face determined to prove he can carry as much as his father. Their breath hangs visible in the cool morning air. Inside, the goats crowd forward, noses twitching, hooves stamping gently against wood. The rhythm of animal life awakens the farm in ways no clock could measure. Will lowers his hand to rest on Grace's shoulder, steadying her as the goats jostle close. She looks up, her eyes shining, and with the innocent clarity of a child asks the question that has shaped homesteads for generations. Dad, why do goats need a buck? A question simple yet profound. Will smiles, his answer forming slowly, knowing that curiosity deserves patience. He tells her gently that goats, like all creatures, follow rhythms of their own. Milk does not flow on its own. It comes only after kidding, after new life is born. And so the buck, though not needed every day, is vital for the future of the herd. They step back, allowing the goats to feed. Grace scatters a small pail of grain. Ollie lays down his hay. The shed fills with the sound of tearing mouths, rough tongues pulling fibers loose, hooves shifting softly on straw. Dust lifts into the air, catching the light, turning golden. Will reaches down for a hoof, checking its shape, running a practiced thumb along the line of growth. He carries the trimmers in his pocket, ready if he finds what needs attention. This quiet task, the trimming of hooves, may seem small, but it is the difference between a herd that thrives and one that falters. Strong feet carry strong goats, and healthy goats carry healthy families. Breakfast waits at the table, but already the morning is thick with learning. Grace's question has become the seed for a lesson that will grow all day. Lizzie calls from the porch, her voice softened by distance, reminding them that food is ready. Together they walk back across the gravel, boots crunching, the children still chattering about the goats. Inside the kitchen, sunlight slants across the wooden table. A kettle hisses gently on the stove. The smell of bread, warm and nutty, fills the air. They sit, hands wrapped around mugs of tea, and Grace repeats her question. Lizzie listens, smiling, letting Will explain once more, so that the lesson settles firmly in the children's minds. He explains that many beginners make the mistake of expecting milk without planning for kidding. Goats are not endless fountains. They are mothers. Only when new life arrives does milk follow. And so, though the herd may be calm and gentle without a buck, they remain incomplete without his presence, at least for a season. Some families choose to keep a buck year-round, others borrow one from neighbors when needed. Each homestead must weigh the balance of care, cost, and space. The children listen, chewing thoughtfully, their small world of goats expanding into a lesson about planning, stewardship, and the cycles that govern life. Lizzie adds her own note of care, that animals are not machines. They are companions in work, in trust, in daily provision. Respecting their rhythms is part of honoring the land itself. After breakfast, the day unfolds again toward the shed. Water troughs must be checked, clean and full. Goats, more than many animals, are sensitive to quality. They will refuse water that is stale or fouled. Will crouches low, scrubbing at the rim of a trough, while Ollie tips in fresh buckets hauled from the well. Grace hurries back with a basket of carrot tops and beet greens from the kitchen garden. Gifts for the herd that keep them tame and gentle. The goats crowd around her, nudging, nibbling, their trust growing with every treat and touch. Above them, the sun climbs higher, burning away the last of the mist. The fields shimmer with dew, blades of grass bending under the weight of water. The morning has stretched into fullness. Already, lessons of milk and motherhood, of hooves and trust, have been folded seamlessly into the fabric of the day. This is how wisdom is passed, not in lectures, but in the simple rhythm of shared work, where questions asked in childlike innocence become truths carried into adulthood. By midday, the air has shifted, warmer now, the scent of sun-baked earth rising from the pastures. The goats lie sprawled in the half-shade of the shed, chewing contentedly, their stomachs working in steady rhythm. A gentle peace settles, broken only by the rustle of hooves on straw or the clink of a water bucket against wood. Lizzie appears across the yard, her basket balanced against her hip, lined with the morning's trimmings from the kitchen garden. Carrot tops, beet greens, and a scattering of lettuce leaves, the odds and ends that might otherwise be wasted, become treasures for the herd. She steps into the shed, lowering the basket, and at once the goats rise, pressing close with soft, insistent nudges. Grace laughs, her delight spilling out as she helps scatter the greens. It is more than a treat. It is trust-building. Every time a goat comes willingly to hand, every time it accepts food gently, the bond deepens. Gentle handling today becomes calm behavior tomorrow, and children raised among such animals learn patience and respect in turn. The air is thick with the smell of hay and earth. Dust swirls in the shafts of light that break through slats in the wood. Ollie notices a loose latch on the pasture gate, the kind of detail only a child's curious eyes would spot. Goats, ever the escape artists, will test every weakness, and so even a single bolt out of place matters. Will takes up his tools, kneeling beside his son, showing him how to steady the hinge, how to hold the spanner firm, how to tighten without overstripping the thread. It is not just a repair, it is training, passing down the art of seeing what is small yet important. Fences and gates are lines of trust between man and animal, order and chaos. To neglect them is to invite mischief. With the gate secured, they pause a while in the yard. Lizzie pours cool water into mugs, the kind with enamel chipped at the rim from years of use. The children sit in the shade, sipping slowly, cheeks flushed. The goats return to their resting spots, chewing in slow harmony, their eyes half closed in contentment. It is here, in this rhythm of midday rest, that the deeper lessons of stewardship are absorbed. Animals, like children, need structure and security, repairs, checks, small acts of attention. All of these form the unseen fabric of a thriving homestead. Later, Will gathers Grace and Ollie, leading them beyond the shed, across the pasture to where temporary fencing marks the edge of their grazing paddock. The grass here is cropped low, worn by eager mouths. But beyond the line, the sward stands lush and tall, dotted with clover and wildflowers. He kneels, pulling a handful of grass, showing them how the roots hold soil, how overgrazing weakens the land, and how rotation gives both goats and ground time to recover. Parasites too, he explains, follow patterns, thriving when animals remain in one place too long. But by moving the herd regularly, the cycle is broken, the goats stay strong, and the pasture renews itself. Grace runs her fingers along the tall grass, listening intently, her brow furrowed in thought. Ollie crouches low, studying beetles scuttling between stalks. Will smiles, watching their curiosity unfold. This is not just goat care, it is land care. It is the weaving together of soil, grass, and animal into a pattern that can last generations. To teach it young is to plant seeds of wisdom that no book can fully impart. The sun leans westward now, shadows stretching long across the field. Lizzie calls from the porch once more, her voice carried on the breeze, summoning them for a simple meal. They walk back slowly, children chattering, goats watching from behind their fence, their soft bleats carrying faintly. The day is not finished, but already its lessons have deepened. That goats are not only givers of milk, but guardians of pasture. That every fence tightened and every gate checked is an act of stewardship. And that to care for animals is, in truth, to care for the land itself. Will reflects aloud, his voice low and steady. He speaks of how every animal on the homestead has a role, and how understanding their design allows the family to serve them well. The goats give milk, yes, but they also give manure to feed the soil. Companionship to the children, and a reminder that life is always a cycle of giving and receiving. Stewardship, he says, is not only about taking what is offered, but about returning care in equal measure. Later, as the children drift inside, Lizzie places a hand on Will's shoulder. Their eyes meet, both knowing how much these small lessons matter. Not only for their children, but for those who watch and learn alongside them through their channel, the Off-Grid Chronicles. It is through sharing that they multiply the value of what they have learned. And behind the scenes, they are not alone in the telling. Will gestures toward his notebook, where earlier in the day he had jotted down the bones of today's lesson. He explains how, with the help of AI, they have been able to turn these fragments into a full story, weaving in both narrative and education. ChatGPT, their quiet assistant, takes the raw threads of their daily life and helps them shape scripts, guides, and even previews of the CAD plans that support their work. By leaning on tools like this, they gain back hours that would otherwise be lost, leaving more time for the children, for the animals, and for one another. Technology, used rightly, becomes not a burden, but a servant, creating space for the things that matter most. The fire crackles in the hearth as night settles. The children curl up with blankets, eyes heavy with sleep, their minds holding fast to the lessons of the day. Grace murmurs softly about her favorite goat, Ollie about the fence line he helped set straight. Their dreams, no doubt, will carry echoes of pastures, hooves, and soft bleating choruses. For those listening, the story leaves both calm and clarity. There is rest in the rhythm of a day well spent, and there is knowledge in the truth that goats, humble creatures though they are, carry wisdom for those who would live in harmony with land and life. Tomorrow will bring new tasks, new learning, and another piece of the homestead puzzle. And so, as the embers glow low and the night deepens, in Proverbs we are told that the righteous care for the needs of their animals. Stewardship is not merely practical, it is spiritual. To care for a goat, to tend a pasture, to build trust with a creature that depends upon you, these acts are woven into the fabric of faithfulness. They are daily reminders of responsibility, compassion, and legacy. As the screen fades to black, a gentle promise lingers. The next episode will move from care to creation, the building of a simple goat shelter. It will be a story of design, comfort, and cost, where Will takes his plans from paper to timber, and the family learns how structure provides not only shade and safety for the herd, but peace of mind for the keeper. For now, though, the night is still, the goats are at rest, and the homestead breathes in quiet harmony.